People who are often bitten by snakes. I think we all know after a rattlesnake bite. As long as you don't go to the hospital right away, I can let the family know they're ready. So the man decided to go with his friends to Florida to make money catching snakes, to earn money for snake bite treatment. And that's because it's in a swamp in Florida. There's an army of killers out there. That's all kinds of snakes. They're taking over the swamp and devour everything in its path, decimating the local animal population. And they don't have any predators here. So the government of Florida, a reward has been issued to fight the snakes, attracted many people to hunt. Today is their 4th day of hunting. Troy, Chase, and Bill at this time, talking about where we're going today. And there's an abundance of snakes. But there's one problem, the water. Pretty deep, deeper than ever before. Troy was afraid of this. After all, it's hard to catch on land, let alone in the water. Although the fastest speed of pythons on land is only 1 mile per hour. But in the water, it will be 5 times that. And you can hide your body quickly. But Bill had a plan for it. And that's using ambush tactics. And he set a goal. That's 15 snakes caught today. Although the goal surprised the other 2. But since Bill has done nothing wrong before, they chose to believe and set off after Bill. And Bruce and Zach on the other side were already looking for pythons in the marshes. But the place they chose this time, it's a swamp full of thrills and thrills. It's not just pythons in there, and there's a huge population of venomous snakes. This is why it is also known as the Viper Jungle. They have to be careful all the time. Then Bruce noticed a mark ahead of him, but I'm not sure if it's a snake or a crocodile. After being confirmed by Zach, the crocodile expert, that means it's a snake, and they're not small enough to earn a lot of commission. So the 2 followed the trail. I went looking for a knife, and the 3 who had only just left were getting closer to our destination. Troy, however, remained skeptical of Bill's decision. That's when Chase spotted a snake. You can reach out and grab it, and you can't catch anything. Fortunately, Bill found the snake again. But after the crowd formed a double team, where did you catch nothing? The 3 understood immediately. The snake may never be found again. After all, a snake can stay in the water for 30 minutes. The 3 of them just got back to the car, and the 2 on the other side, walking carefully in the swamp. They have to be very careful. Watch your step every step of the way, so you don't accidentally step on a poisonous snake. That's when Zach found a pile of dead bones. Upon closer inspection, it was found to be the bone of a rattlesnake. After all, it has this iconic thing on it, but they didn't like looking at bones. Once confirmed, the search for the python resumed, but it also makes them more careful going forward. After all, it's 50-60 miles from here. There aren't any doctors or hospitals. If I get bitten by a poisonous snake, the other man is going to take the injured man, move it back 1 step at a time. Then they saw a poisonous snake, and this rattlesnake keeps giving warnings. They saw this and immediately wanted to leave, but the photographer was not willing. It's directly in front of the snake, and the 3 on the other side. Now we're close to the goal Bill set, and a very long way off, although there are a lot of snakes here. But pythons are still hard to catch in the water, and Bill was still there laughing. It made Chase a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, he found a snake. The other 2 came over, and so they lost the python again. So far, I don't know how many have escaped from their hands. Good thing after so many failures, Bill came up with another strategy. That's the push and shove plan. And this plan uses this. People stood in rows together and walked slowly forward. Drive the prey out of hiding. Put him just to his advantage. After the 3 of them walked in line for a while, Chase found a python again, and right in front of Bill, after driving the python into the shallows. 3 men surrounded him immediately. The boa constrictor bit Bill at once. Good thing Bill got there fast enough, or this python attack could have bitten him. But it was clearly not willing to bite at Troy. But the aim was a little off this time. I didn't succeed. A closer look turned out that the snake was just shedding its skin, causing the eyes to become very hazy. It's affecting his eyesight. That led directly to this game. Turns out to be very advantageous to all 3, even though the snake is always on the lookout. But they found their chance. He grabbed the snake tail in his hand, Chase immediately bent over, ready to hold his head in his hands. But in the face of another python attack, can only give up. But soon the opportunity came again. The python was caught by Troy. Chase didn't hesitate this time. He grabbed the head of the snake, the first python of the day. That's how Chase caught me, and slipped easily into the sack, and this python into the bag. It also represents Bill's plan for this time. Is totally useful. Don't want the plan you started with to be useless. Although there are still 14 pythons to catch. But now they are very happy. Zach and Bruce at the same time, still struggling through the jungle of vipers. Even though the two kept looking for the python along the way. But so far not a snake has been seen. This made both men look disappointed. But then a python walked by. Zach immediately grabbed the snake tail in his hands, and the python didn't respond. Bruce knew it was a silly snake. Just grab it and grab it. But the snake's body got stuck in the tree hole. The pythons also took advantage of the opportunity, got away from Bruce. Good thing Zach still has the snake tail in his hand. Otherwise, all this is for nothing, not doing anything about it. At this time, the python continues to attack Bruce, but it didn't do any good. Bruce still got a hold of it. Although catching this snake looks easy, it was actually very relaxing. Just stay calm and alert. You can easily earn a few $100. After hanging up the sack, the two men continued their journey, and the three on the other side. After using the new strategy, the effect was remarkable. They succeeded in catching 3 pythons. But the trio will have to work harder. Otherwise, it will be difficult to achieve today's 15 goals. After their careful search, finally Chase and Bill didn't find the python. Instead of Troy the pythons loved to see it first. After the 3 men rushed to its side, he was attacked by a python. Good thing Chase and Bill stood together. Let the python not know for a moment to attack that. That gave Troy a chance. The first one grabbed the snake tail, but after he attacked Bill, he immediately turned on Troy, so scared that he just dropped the snake tail. Can face a 3-man assault. Snaketail still got caught by Bill. This also tipped the balance of victory back to the 3, and Troy did not disappoint. He just grabbed the snake in his hand. Sure enough, it's teamwork. The most convenient, fastest, and labor-saving. After bagging the 12-foot snake, and this python isn't giving up yet, and he was hissing and hissing. Bruce and Zach at the same time. I'm deep into the viper jungle. They have to be more careful now, and make sure there's nothing weird under your feet. After all, it's not called viper jungle for nothing. But the pair are hoping to catch enough pythons, or today's adventures will be for nothing. I didn't walk long before I saw a python. Zach just grabbed his tail in his hand. This python is so mad it's starting to bite itself. It made them both laugh. Then Bruce saw another poisonous snake, and constantly circling around it. It just freaked them out, too afraid to fight the python any longer, for fear of a surprise attack from that python. And Zach's courage suddenly shot up. Just ignore the snake. One grabbed the snake tail in his hand. Bruce is a force at this point. He reached out and grasped the snake in his hand. Then, they took the snake with them. Just walked out of there, even though we caught the snake. But they did not celebrate. It's more alert and panicked. Then Bruce had an idea. The use of palm leaves. Cut off the spikes on both sides. Then tie the leaves to the boots. This way you can further protect your feet. And 16 miles away, Chase, Troy, and Bill. They stopped making progress. It's because Bill changed his strategy. That is to take separate arrests, to cover more ground. 3 of them, after taking the boat down. Bill decides to go hunting alone. After rowing away for a while, suddenly Bill saw a boa constrictor. He flew right over there. As soon as Bill arrived, he pulled the python back. And Bill's strategy worked. Then he took the python back to the boat and bagged it. And Troy and Chase on the other side. The 2 are also looking for pythons. Not as quickly as Bill did, though. It made Troy think that it feels like the pythons might know they're coming. But then Chase spotted a python. The 2 men immediately surrounded him. After putting this python in a sack, the 2 managed to earn $250. But so far, the 3 have not accomplished today's goal. They only caught 10 pythons. So Bill decides to continue hunting pythons tonight. In this way, it is possible to accomplish the goal. After loading the boat on board, the three continued on their way. And on the other side, in the jungle of vipers, the two have caught 7 pythons. The two must remain vigilant during this process. Then they saw a python. But when the two first arrived, the person was directly stupid. The python had gone missing in such a short time. The two men, after a search, suddenly Zach heard a sound, and it was the sound of a rattlesnake. Then the two men quickly left the area. When the sun completely sets, Troy, Chase, and Bill dive into the swamp to find the last 5 pythons. But the difficulty of catching a python at night has skyrocketed. Then Troy suddenly saw something. The 3 men ran over immediately, but it was too dark. As soon as they got off the bus, they separated to look for the python. But after a lot of searching, still no sign of the python. At last, Bill separated to look for it. Then Troy saw a snake. But when he got closer, he realized it wasn't a python. It's a poisonous water snake. 2 people had to continue to look for the python. Soon they found a treasure on one side. And this python is the perfect start to the night. After putting the python in a sack, to make them more certain of Bill's plans. And Bruce and Zach on the other side. The two are fleeing the viper jungle and need to get out of here as soon as possible. But they can't go too fast. And watch what's under your feet. But then they heard the sound of a rattlesnake again. Even Zach got bit by it. Zach quickly opened his pants legs. But there are no wounds on the leg. Okay. Not even venom. It's a good thing Zach was wearing enough armor. The two made sure there was no problem. He took the sack and ran away. Soon they were out of the jungle. And today they caught 10 pythons. Earned $2,750. After putting away the sack containing the python, I just drove off. And Bill on the other side, after the separation, decided to catch a python himself. But they hunt pythons at night. It's very challenging. Then Bill found a python, but when he got close, he ran behind the tree. But after you get the python in your hands, a little difficult for a time. There was no sack around. Can only carry one of them back to the side. It wasn't long before the 3 were back together. After putting the python in a sack, the trio managed to catch the target of 15. Well, that's all for this program. Give it a thumbs up, and let's look forward to the next episode.